Hey, what's up? My name is Paul Solt, and I have been exploring AI Codex specifically on using it to make applications, using it to assist me in coding activities. So I've published a lot of apps to the App Store. I think I've published maybe 8 apps on the App Store, and not all of them are available right now because technology is always changing. And one of the hardest things to keep them up to date is just dealing with deprecated APIs, just wanting to get features out. And so that's where Codex or even Cursor is really helpful. So Codex is from OpenAI. This is a tool that can write a ton of code for you, and you can just install it with npm I -g OpenAI Codex, or you can install it via you can write brew if you've got homebrew, uh, um, install codex, something like that. That will go ahead, download the latest version, and it already says that it's up to date. If I do codex -- version, you'll see that we're on codex 0.65.0, and I've got it open over here on the left. So this is codex. Typically, I run this with the newest model, which is 5.1 Codex Max. And there's different levels of reasoning. I'm using high. This has been really, really effective at solving some critical problems. And I absolutely love it. So I want to show you what it looks like. I don't have any agents files set up. I think there's an init command. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see what that does. That's actually not a bad prompt. So it's going to go in, and we can see what it's going to do. It's going to create the agents MD file. There is a weird bug where it sometimes clips stuff, so we might see a little bit of this stuff clipping as it is writing additional things. I'm losing text here, so I can't even read what it's writing. I've already reported this bug. So if you have it doing work while you're reading something, you will lose information on the TUI, terminal UI, I think is the term that we're using here, instead of GUI. If I type ls or gs over here, it hasn't created the file yet, so it's still exploring the code base, and we can just sort of see as it is running what Codex is doing. Now, Codex is absolutely incredible. It went from being absolutely terrible in some of the first releases to really catching up to where Claude Code was. I used Claude Code for maybe 2 months. It was good. It was eye-opening, but it was beyond frustrating because it would lie to me and it would rewrite things, break things. Its tests weren't accurate. And I'm not saying that Codex is perfect. I was really frustrated last month with Codex until 5.1 came out, and specifically 5.1 Max on Codex has been absolutely incredible. So we can see right now it has just finished. And down here, what you're going to see is it has given me a brief summary of what it's done. It's created an agents file, and let's actually look at that. So let's open up agents, and I'll bring that over here, and we'll just read this. Let's actually make this a little bit easier to read with just some formatting for right now. So it's got all the build commands, which is actually really incredible. So this is actually a good starting point. I didn't know it could do this type of stuff. It's even got rules on the case for types, for functions, IVARs. That's actually really cool. It's got some testing stuff. What else does it have in here? Based on my previous testing. Cool. So that's actually really a pretty good starting point. There's more that I could probably do, but like that's good. Okay. I need to figure out, and so typically I would start writing to it, but I use an app now called Whisperflow, which is this app. And here, this lets me use the function or the global hotkey that's over in the bottom left side of your keyboard. So that's going to click that. You'll see a little thing appear right in the middle here, and that is going to be my transcription. if I go back here and put my focus here, wherever my focus is, that's where it's going to paste the text. So I just let go of that button and it pastes it right there. And if I don't want it, I can do Control C and that will get rid of that. So here, what I want to ask Codex to do is just figure out what the state of my app. Please figure out the state of my application. I haven't updated this in so many years. I have integration that I want to integrate with my mini timer and my floating panel stuff, but I haven't had time to integrate that yet. I need to know sort of where this is at because I want to have the ability to sell this off the Mac App Store and maybe use something like Paddle. Um, I want to sell it on the App Store with a subscription. I don't have that integrated yet. So those are two like payment methods. I needed a way of like separating those two build configurations. Can you help me plan out? Let's create a tasks.md file to just keep track of the tasks that we want to work on. Keep them super lightweight to begin with. Let's go with like single line tasks, not too much depth, and then just talk me through like what's it going to take to get this up to date, and then if I have another project that I want to bring in, what's the best way to give you those code snippets so that we can integrate that new windowing system. Another feature that I want to do is I want to support multiple timers. Right now we're locked down to one timer, and that's going to be a little bit problematic because we kind of hard coded it to be a single timer. Um, yeah, just I need to get started with this. And so I need some idea of like the state of everything and how we can sort of move this forward to support multiple timers, to update the payment information. I think maybe going free initially might be the best bet. Just make it not paid right now, and then we'll integrate subscriptions in a little bit once we start cleaning up this stuff. I ultimately need to just get this rebuilt for ARM because it's still on Rosetta, which is crazy, but I haven't had any time to work on it. So I need you to help me get it to a point where we can just ship an update to the App Store. Probably before we do any fancy feature updates, before we do any fancy payment updates, we just need to get this built, which means I need to update any kind of screenshots or marketing materials. Our app icon has to change because Tahoe has updated the app icon rules. That's going to be problematic because I really like our app icon, which is not a square, and I can't do that anymore. So I guess it's going to have like a bubble around it or something. I'm not sure. Um, but my new shape was going to also change. So maybe that's a good opportunity to make it a little bit different. So we're going to have to think about that as well. I don't know if there's anything else for iOS 26, or sorry, what is it, macOS? We want to support macOS something. I don't want to be limited, but we do need to get a release out. So I think we've got to keep the current macOS target and then see if we can bump it up so that our newer code can leverage the latest stuff from Apple rather than being shackled to the old stuff. So kind of need a path forward. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm not exactly sure which way to take it. So let's see what you think. All right. So that was a lot. And now it's going to paste that text, 2,945 characters, and it's going to go right there and boom. We've got some information that it is going to just work with. And that is going to just get us going in this folder. So that's how easy it is to get started with Codex. It created all of these tasks. And oh, baby. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty good starting point. Um, and if we wanted to, we could try and have it do one of these tasks. So let's see. Let's just see what happens when I go ahead and run it. So I haven't run this in a while. and I think it was on my other monitor. So let's see where it appears. Did it appear? Still built. So there's ThemeKit issues. I am not using the latest version of ThemeKit. I don't know if I still need to use that. That is powering a lot of the stuff. I'm unsure why it's taking so long to build. 33 seconds is a long time to build. This is not that complicated. But maybe we've got some code that is... I mean, you can see we have deprecations. So there's my timer. Okay, now which one is it? Got one over here. I've got too many timers. I don't know which one's the one that's running from here. So let's run it one more time so I can grab the right one. So it's right here, and this is the timer. So the timer just lets me say something like 25 minutes, and it will start counting down. I can position it anywhere. Typically, I would put this in a corner, and a lot of the times I like writing. So if I opened up like a text editor, typically I write in notes or something. But I could go full screen, um, or just actually full screen doesn't work with this version. So that's one thing that I've been trying to fix in the new version. Um, so why don't we see? So it does run, and I have changed the buttons a little bit here. So this is the new one. I got rid of a button that would like reduce the size, and I can just drag and slide it, and that will resize it. I can just refresh. I can pause. The buttons are a little tiny when it's this small, so having bigger touch targets would probably help. I can easily say something like 5 p.m. and get a countdown to 5 p.m. So I've got an hour, 41 minutes if I want to go for a run or something like that. And let's see if I can find, I think I'm going to have to do some finagling here. Okay. So I'm going to ask it another question. Can you look up a directory at Minitimer and see how I've done the NSPanel logic? Is that something we could integrate with Super Easy Timer as a proof of concept to just show how to get timer over all windows? I've got a special NSPanel in there that's already configured. I don't know how that's going to integrate with what we have right now. Our solution works across spaces, but it doesn't work across full screen applications. Okay, I'm just going to edit this. See if it can find that. It might not be able to search without changing its... I'm going to change the approvals to everything. And see if it can find it. And I'll just see if it can integrate this. This is where I think this is really beneficial. So mini timer, if we open that up just so that you can see it, is this project right here. And if I go ahead and run it, this is super easy timer right here. And this is my work in progress on mini timer, which is right here. Oh, and it just ran away. There are some quirks with it on window resizing. I lost it. We're gonna have to run it again. Okay, so here's mini timer. Now, I was playing around with integrating a new way of interacting, and that has caused some issues here. So I'm probably going to hide this for a second. just so I can actually drag the window around. The text field is actually getting in the way of moving this around. So this is my new concept for what the timer is going to sort of look like. And I'll have a minimum size that'll be smaller than the previous one so that I can just sort of hide it in one of the corners or something like that right down here. Or I can hide it up here if I wanted to, though I don't really like covering the menu bar, but it can go over the menu bar. There is a little dot here because I've got the video on. And then if I go into a full screen app, you'll see that it can still appear here. So you could put it maybe in the center. I don't know exactly where I'd want it, but then I could start a timer and just have it count down for me. Now, I have it counting down in the menu bar, and unfortunately, my app icon needs to change here. So that's going to be a little bit of a bummer because I really liked it being offset a little bit. To just sort of match the stylizing that I'm doing right now. But that's not bad if I could just have it right in the center on a full screen application, or just making it really big if you want to give a presentation. Um, I think this one isn't hooked up to go to full screen. It is really meant to be like super minimal and out of the way. So if you want a timer that goes full screen, I have to have some other logic. And so we'll have to see what Codex can do while we were talking, if it came up with anything. Okay, so let's see if we have any changes. So I have those two files. Quick mock-up to integrate the logic from mini timer into super easy timer. So let's just talk it out. We can use uh, the timer in the full screen scenario. I don't know how this ties in with making the app full screen because right now my mini timer does not support full screen. It might not work with an NS panel, so we might have to like have two different windowing systems, one for when it's always on top and one for when we want to go full screen. Can you just get me to MVP, see if we could integrate something here so that it allows us to have at least a test window? It doesn't have to be functional just yet, but if you could also tie it into the functionality, that would be great. First, I want to see that the window can appear, so let's just see if you can do that. Okay, so we'll just kick this off and see what happens. I haven't looked at this code in so long, and um, there's a lot here. So if we can get the AI to come up with a strategy for like fixing it, that's awesome. These are some of the videos that I'm going to have to redo. So we've got this old video. This button I took away. I might put it back, but I'm going to have to redo this button or this video if I want to redo this. And plus the corner radiuses have changed. So like this is going to look out of date with the new stylizing for Windows on the upcoming macOS operating system. So there's always like stuff like this that you're going to have to deal with. That's nice to have to like get it working. I don't even use Evernote anymore. I used to use Evernote all the time. Um, so I've got 5 different videos that I'll have to refilm in order to publish this. But doing something like this mini timer is really compelling for me. Seeing it count down here, I don't love it being offset. So like I could see it being just not offset, especially if I'm going to read it. And then also seeing it in the menu bar if I wanted it in the menu bar is really important. So let's see what Codex has done. Okay, so it's already integrated something. Let's see if that actually did anything. So I'll go ahead and run it. It did not integrate enough. Okay. And so this is where it's really important. Does not build. Fix it. Let's use a makefile so that we always have a reliable build command to run. See the agents.md for starting points. Update if needed. Okay. So I'm going to ask it to make a makefile so that we can have reliable build commands for the iPhone app project. And hopefully that will allow it to sort of see that there's problems here. I'm worried that it maybe did a reference in place. It's got to actually bring the files in. So we might have to double check what exactly it's doing here. Let's look at the file system. So I'm going to do a git status. I have a shortcut here, so I can just type GS and it will give me the status down here at the bottom. And we can see that it has brought in the floating panel, which is, I think, the core thing that I need. And now hopefully it is figuring out how to build my Mac app. We'll see. And while we wait, let's get a little coffee. It looks like it wasn't really added to the project. Let's see what has changed here. So we see the floating panel. Okay, so there's a new setting that we're going to have to configure. What are we leveraging? So macOS 11. So which macOS do I need to switch to? Why didn't you need to make and run it? So sometimes you just have to push Codex to do a little bit more. So I'll let it think about that. It looks like that one API. So we're going to have another build error. So if it doesn't actually build it, macOS 13 and newer. I don't know what this one was for. Oh, no. It just took something away. Interesting. Okay, well, that's one way to fix it. I was going to update it. Okay, oh, it programmatically did an availability check. Okay, that's, I think, acceptable. This way we could support older Mac versions for at least an update. So that actually could be a good thing. So let's go ahead and run it. Does it work yet? So we have a build succeeded. And what do we have here? Do I have two timer windows? If I go full screen, do we see one of them? No. We never really know what we're going to get with working with these. Okay, so let me just talk this out loud. So is this floating? It's not working like mini timer in my other Xcode project. It's the new timer window doesn't float on top of everything. Is something misconfigured here? Or did you not get the proof of concepts fully wired up? Can you also make the background color like orange or something so it's easy to tell which one is the new proof of concept window? Okay, you don't have to have perfect spelling when you're working with Codex. It will figure things out as you're working with it. And let's just see what happens. Was there another setting? Let's just check settings right now. Keep timer on top is set. So like right now we're going to see that it stays on top, which is what I wanted initially. But now I want it to always be on top of a full screen application. So if we go full screen, what I'm expecting is that we can still interact with it like this little timer, and then we can sort of position it wherever we want it. So, and switching spaces, you'll see that those other timer windows appear. That's kind of what we expect. If I stop it, go back. Is this my existing app? Which one is this? Okay, I'll just kill that. Let's go ahead and run this, and I'm going to leave full screen and see what we see. So this is my only window I see right now. Here's full screen on the timer. So this is my normal timer working in full screen. If I hit Command R, that will run it and start the countdown. So what is going on with Codex? It says it tightened something up. Oh, that's the mini timer. Let's make sure we're building the right project. I've got to bring this out of full screen. Let's see, did it actually do something? Yikes. It changed something. It broke things. Not the best demo, huh? It's not always on top anymore. You didn't integrate it the same way that mini timer is set up. So please go back and review mini timer's window setup in NS panel. We're not doing something proper. I don't see orange anywhere in here. It doesn't float above everything. You need to copy exactly what I did for mini timer. Do not make anything up. Do not change anything. I need you to just do exactly what my prototype does because that one works. And for right now, do not use the same view from Super Easy Timer. I need you to load just a simple SwiftUI view, exactly like my mini timer is set up. So copy that same code. And what I would like is that you connect it to the brains of the application so we can see it. But let's start small, and I want you to investigate and figure it out and just pull everything from mini timer the way it is working and match it one for one in our integration. I want a separate window, so do not reuse the first one. Can you revert back whatever you changed here for the main window because you've broken the current timer? I want to be able to open up this as a separate window or panel so that we can have the two side by side and sort of toy around with them. Okay, so I'm asking it to like undo some changes. I don't know if it's done any commits. I hope it hasn't done any commits. Let's just do a git log. So I last touched this back in February. Oh yeah, totally did not. It didn't even use the shared. Yeah, there's so much stuff in there that it's not reusing. Okay, so now we've given it sort of a course correction and it's thinking, it's doing all this coding. Hopefully we can see something shortly. So we can see that it took away the floating panel. I don't know if it's adding a SPM package at this point. So let's see what has, so it's removed a file. This is a little bit dangerous. Typically I don't like it removing files because they break things. But is it going to give me an SPM package or something? Or is it just going to copy in the resources? What is it going to do? If it doesn't create a SPM package, it's not going to build correctly. So that could be problematic. But what we can see is it's writing a bunch of new code files. And if we look at what it's doing down here at the bottom, we can see there's timer prototype, floating timer. So let's open up timer prototype. And what do we have? What is it doing? Did it just copy all of my code files? So this is where we sometimes have to course correct. So I'm asking it to make it part of this code repository and integrate it. Let's just talk to it. I need you to uh, just integrate the existing code into this project. So my prototype code needs to get integrated here. I don't want a separate Xcode project. I want the SPM package or whatever I have, whatever's going to be reusable so that we can use it on iOS as well as macOS is kind of what we need here. And I just need the mini timer to work. So let's shoot for the simplest thing possible. Just integrate mini timer in its current form as another window or panel that gets started with super easy timer when I start the app. Okay, let's see what it says to this. It might like backtrack a ton of things. Okay, I think I misspoke here. I think I got a little bit confused on the project structure. So let's just see what it comes up with. I feel like we could be really close right now. Yeah. All right, so I took a short break while it was thinking. Thought for 4 minutes. Let's see if it actually works. This is one of the things where I have custom rules to get Codex to do stuff. And okay, interesting. So it integrated something here. And if so, we okay, so pin it. No feedback on whether that's activated or not. It is over this window. So let's go full screen in Xcode. And boom. Okay, so now we have something to hook into. And if I look at files changed, what is it doing? This is the new timer. I don't love that it changes positions. Um, that's super weird. What is this close button? But at least I can resize this. It's got the smooth resizing that I had implemented in this app, so that it can resize nicely. If I'm not careful, I can send this off screen. So that's like a first look. I can move it all around. I have no idea. These buttons don't make any sense. Pop over content. What? What is this popover content? Okay, so let's ask it one more thing. I have no idea what the pin or the close button do because they don't seem to do anything. And I don't like that they changed the size of the UI. Like we shouldn't be shifting the size of the timer to accommodate these buttons. I previously had buttons that would fade in, fade out. I think I disabled those buttons in my mini timer example. I would want something on hover like that rather than changing the shape of the text. That's really distracting. So look at how I styled the play button, the pause button that I had in the mini timer example in the folder above this. If you copied all that stuff in, you should have it. If you didn't copy it in, then you're not going to have it. Um, yeah, I'm a little confused. And can we make a full screen option? Like, is there a button to make it full screen? I want to explore, like, maybe I bring back that full screen button. So it's one click to go full screen if you want full screen from the top right corner. So the buttons on the previous interface were in the top right corner. I had a play, a restart, and I'm thinking full screen if we're not showing the standard stoplight buttons. I'm unsure if we're going to show those or even if we can show those on a NS panel. So that is one thing that is different. So help me figure this out. That didn't seem to paste properly, so let's just see what's going on here. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so it is looking at some of those things. We're going to see how it works out. And I still don't know how it's linking the code. That's like the confusing part is it's added this code, but it is not in the Xcode project, and it's okay. So we're gonna open timer prototype, loading timer. Okay, so this is what it added. So these were all the things that I had added. And I was using some newer stuff that requires macOS 13. What is macOS 13? Ventura. I think that's okay to be the minimum target. I am on Sonoma right now. So being on Ventura, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing as a minimum target. So let's see, what is it doing? Guys, something. I don't know why that keeps appearing. That's for my teleprompter. Yeah. Um, what is it doing here? So it brought back the buttons. It has built it. Let me see if I can build it. Much better. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if I hit play, reset, in. Ooh. So that was like the one artifact that like, okay, so if I go full screen in Xcode or over top, and then I go full screen here, this one's over top of this one. And then we could hit the, oh, so that's gonna be problematic. Can't hit any of those buttons with the menu bar. Okay, hitting escape. I lose my panel now. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty happy that I have something. I might try this again to see if we can get better results with a little bit more direction. I think I need to prompt it a little bit better next time. So that's how I would start this. I have been hesitant to start to leave my current agents.md file because I feel like it really helps having a good agents file, but going back to a new project I think is really helpful. Without clearer directions though, we're going to get stuck where like I don't know where this window is because hitting escape made it go away. And it's not the mini timer. It's not that one. It's not that one. Nope. It's not that one. We are full screen right now. If I try starting it again, here it is. That is the downside. Like, if it's so small, you can only use keyboard shortcuts, or you need to have some kind of overlay that basically blocks you from seeing the text. And then restart. That's a little bit problematic that the UI then masks it. And that's kind of why I made super easy timer smaller. And I have text here, I've got buttons up top, and I have the text here. Because that was like the smallest thing possible, but I think I can get it smaller. And so that's kind of what this exploration is about, of trying to get it smaller and then colored and having multiple timers and doing some fun stuff. Like I even experimented with rendering some stuff underneath. And I think I like that better potentially than having it up here, and potentially like doing it on the bottom or the top, depending on where you position it. Like if I position it here, I might want input on the top side. If I position it up top, I'm probably going to want input on the bottom side. And then being able to still interact with the buttons, though in full screen mode, you might not want to always show them. If I leave it, okay, so only while I'm over it, but I'm in full screen. If I don't move the mouse, I kind of want it to just disappear, but I kind of don't want them to appear in full screen mode. I really want to control them from another panel is the other thing, but that's a different feature. Pressing escape makes the window disappear. I think it's a good spot to leave this. If this was interesting, if you learned something, hit the like button. I know I'm rambling a little bit, and we'll see how this one looks.